So the active participle, so inna is normally not translated. But in Quran, sometimes you could find inna, and it's for emphasis. So you translate it as verily, or surely, or something like that. Inna, that is inna. Anna, that. We've done something similar in the verb. After, if the verb is after it, it's an. Anna is when there's noun or pronoun after it. Lakinna means but, similar to the verb when we done particles for verb, we done lakin. So if it's lakin, it should follow a verb. Lakinna is followed by a noun or pronoun. Li'anna, because. La'alla, perhaps. Or it's also kind of used to for like a wish. So when you say when you speak in Arabic, it's common practice. So you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and when you message somebody, you normally follow up. You say la'allaka bi khair. It's like a wish to say you are well. So after these particles, the subject, the noun after it will be accusative. So inna hasanan mawjudun. Hasan is present. Inna hasanan. Normally it was hasanan. It was hasanun normally. Mawjudun. So it was Hasan is present. You want to make it some emphasis on it, so you said inna. It becomes hasanan. Hasanan. Because after inna or anna or all these particles we done, the noun becomes accusative. So we say verily Hasan is present. Again, he emphasizes that it's not necessary to translate verily or surely and stuff like that, except in Quran or Hadith or whatever. So in normal language, we're not going to translate. But for our purposes, it's probably good practice to just translate. So sometimes after inna, instead of having just normal noun, we could have a pronoun. So here, for example, innaka. So here obviously is pronoun. So pronouns we said they don't take, their value don't change. But if you look at it grammatically, this is still considered accusative. It's written as innaka, but it's considered accusative. So
is it that? So is it that the word whichever comes after inna will be accusative, or we have to see the position of the words?
How do you mean?
Means is it the subject and predicator form, or any word which comes after inna will be accusative?
So and anything which comes after inna will be accusative. Okay. Okay, unless we, and I don't think we're going to make it cover later. If there was a preposition in between, inni fi baitika sarikun, but this you could ignore that because we're not covering it here. Maybe we cover later. But yeah, for now, yes, and any noun which come after inna will be accusative. And pronoun I mentioned, when I say accusative, I don't mean in terms of writing, but in terms of grammar. And also he says that after if you use inna, and the predicate, you could introduce it by lam. Innaka la'aqilun. Inna is I mentioned is the term for emphasis. Lam is a term for emphasis as well. So it's even more emphasizing. So you're talking to somebody, you tell them, you will pass your exams. You need to work if you work hard. And they die, they go, no, we don't know, it's too hard and stuff like that. You say innaka akilun. Innaka akilun. And they still say, oh, it's too hard. You then say innaka la'aqilun. You emphasize more. You verily, surely, you are intelligent. Like you will pass. Like, that's
If
useful.
this lam comes with the inna, so that means that's for emphasis. Otherwise, the lam is for like we use it for or the belonging.
Say it again.
Like you previously we have read the lam is for. It's translated as for or as for belonging. But if it
Yeah.
is coming with inna, so that clears it that it is used for emphasis.
Okay. This is all different. Yes, it depends on the context, and obviously, if it was for preposition, like you said, then it will be the aqilun won't be aqilun, it will be aqilin, it will be genitive. But yes, lam, this is not lam of preposition. Lam of preposition is different. So it's not li, there's a difference. So here, li, there was normally kasra, this fatha.
The preposition one will have a kasra and it will also make the noun along with it as a kasra.
We will make the noun adjective, genitive.
Genitive case. Okay.
But yes, normally lam sometimes come when you know if you have inna, then you have lam, you could kind of see that no is perhaps for emphasis. It adds more emphasis to it. Okay, okay. So for example, innaka ya Suleimanu la rajulun azim. Verily, O Suleiman, you, O Suleiman, are a great man. Okay. أو إن رجل الموجود في بيتي لصديق لا صديق أخي. So here إن رجل, and then you know موجودة is the adjective of رجل because both are definite masculine accusative. So you know the man present. في بيتي, in my house. لصديق أخي is the friend, is my brother's friend. Does that make sense?
Here we did not translate the inna.
You could translate it, no problem with that. You could say, verily, the man present in my house is my brother's friend. You could say that, yes. Because inna is normally used for emphasis, so you can, yes. Because the author is trying to cover modern Arabic and classical Arabic together. But obviously, if you read in religious literature, normally it will be translated as verily or surely. So here I just give an example that when the after inni or after inna, when there is a attached pronoun, there may be other ways of writing it. For example, innani. So there's a ya, you referring to yourself, really I, right? You could also write as inni. Okay, innana becomes inna. So these are just the noons merge together, so it becomes inna. So innana or inna, same thing, referring to verily we. Okay, it says inna is used to introduce speech after the verb qala, to say, as well as begin an ordinary normal sentence. So we've done the ordinary normal sentence, where we hear example of when we use qala, then when we say what he said, then we use inna. Qala Suleimanu inna Dauda hadirun. Suleiman said that David was present. So here says, so we've done inna, so it gives a bit of example of anna. So he says that Anna, inna is used with qala, so that rules out anna. But it says anna can be used as an object of a sentence. For example, balagani anna, or the subject of the subject or the object of a sentence or of a verb. So for example, balagani anna zaidan aqilun. So balagani, what's ni here?
Pronoun.
Pronoun in terms of sentence, balagha is a verb, what's ni?
Balaga is the verb, so it's the doer subject.
So what does it mean? Why is it subject? What does it mean? Can you elaborate? It's not a subject. I mentioned it's when there's attached pronoun with the verb, it's always the object. Always, 100%. Because if you want to say, if you want to make either object, subject, you say balagtu. Balagtu, we mean I reached. It doesn't say that, it says balagani. So something reached me. So what reached you? Anna zaidan aqilun. This whole is the subject. We say subject, it's not one word subject, it's the whole. Anna zaidan aqilun is the subject. So Zaid is intelligent, has reached me. Okay, that's literal. Or effectively, if you want to rephrase it, it's like saying I've heard that Zaid is intelligent, or it has come to me, to my notice, that Zaid is intelligent. Balagani to me is reach. What's reached you? Zaid is intelligent, has reached you, or the news about him. Does that make sense? So here mentions here again. That's why I always emphasize you need to read the book. You need to read the book because you need to be able to access the book yourself. Because because alhamdulillah, when I learned this book, when I finished the book, I was able to. I didn't start teaching straight away. I've been learning through other books and doing reading in Arabic and stuff like that. But when I finished the book, I believe. If I wanted to teach, I could have taught it because you understood it, and that should be the aim. And for let's move on. So here is Zukira anna al-malika maridun. Again, anna is used in similar way. So Zukira anna al-malika maridun. It has been mentioned that the king is ill. So Zukira is passive, so we don't know who mentioned it. But anna al-malika maridun is like naib fa'il, the whole of it. Because what was mentioned, the king is ill, has been mentioned. I think I would translate like that. Or again, alamu. What's the subject here? Alamu.
Subject is the whole sentence. Anna Zaidan. Yeah.
No. What does alamu mean?
I know.
Yes. So I is the subject. So when you mention anna, mention it can be subject or it can be object. He is object. A'lamu. What do I know? I know anna Zaidan yahduru. I know that Zaid will be present, or Zaid is attending, something like that. So all of that is the object. Subject is I know. What do you know? You know that Zaid will attend. So it's mentioned. Similarly, you could introduce lambda sentence with the anna, which is, we mentioned al-alla, lakinna. And he says, when it says lakinna, normally we use waw with the walakinna. So for example, innal afwa qad ghalabahu. Sorry, it says afna afwa is khawfa. Innal khawfa qad ghalabahu. Verily fear has overcome him. So innal khawfa, verily fear, qad ghalaba, referring to khawf. Verily fear has overcome him. Who, when I said who, when it comes with a subject, with the verb, why is it always an object? Or here, ghadibtu, what's the subject here? I ghadibtu, I was angry. Why? لأن خادمي لم يغسل ثيابي. This is not object here. It's more of why you're angry. I was angry because khadimi, my servant. So it's not say al khadima, for example, but it's obviously accusative. But because of we use my servant, we can't tell there's supposed to be fatha here. So it's لأن خادمي, verily my servant, lam yaghsil thiyabi, did not wash. Again, lam comes. Lam is for past, makes it past. Lam yaghsil thiyabi. I was angry because my servant did not wash my clothes. Here, لعل سرورا قتله. Perhaps joy killed him. لعل سرورا. Sarura is the subject. Perhaps joy, qatalahu, killed him. You notice how they're using the verb in the third person, and then they're using the pronoun, and the verb is referring back to the subject. Does that make sense? Hadar al-Yahudu, the Jews attended. Lakinna means but. Lakinna al-Araba, but the Arabs, ghabu, were absent. So again, lakinna makes the next noun accusative. Okay, so I think I mentioned this, and I didn't think the book will mention it, for Hannah, when you asked the question, if anything can come between them. And here is mentioned when the predicate is a prepositional phrase. So for example, inna fi shari'i rajulan, verily a man was in the street, right? Because inna relates to rajulan, but there's a preposition in between.
So we can write it. So we can write it also like inna rajulan fishari.
Yes, you can. Yes. So if you list, yes, you can. It's again, if you refer back to lesson 2 or lesson 2, I think, where we covered that sometimes when the subject is indefinite, so like a man, a boy, a girl, and when the predicate is prepositional phrase, like fi shari, in the street, fil baiti, and so forth, we said that it is not unusual, so it is normal to put the preposition first. So it sort of follows the rule of that. So that's why it's fi shari'i. But yeah, you could put inna rajulan fi shari'i as well. That's fine. Okay, so vocabulary khitabun, letter khitabatun, letter, it could mean letter, speech or discourse, and then you have to look at the context. Na'ibun means deputy, representative, or MP. Nuwabun is the plural, broken plural. Maridun means ill. Marba is broken plural. Ghalaba yaghlibu. Yeah, yaglibu is refers to the mudare, so it's yaglibu, ghalaba, yaglibu, to conquer, defeat, overcome. He says it's going to be with direct object, so it's going to be ghalabtu Zaydan, I defeated Zayd, or it could be with ala, also, or it could be ghalabtu ala Zaydin, I conquered Zayd. So it could be with direct object, or you could use ala. Khawfun means fear. Ghadiba yaghdabu means to become angry. If you want to say with, it's not ghadibtu ma'aka, I'm angry with you, you have to use ala. It's almost saying I am angry on you. But when you translate, you may say with. So if I say ghadibtu alayka, it means I am angry on you. But when you translate, you say angry with you. That's why we're using ala. It's almost saying ala, but we just translate it as ma. We're not going to use ma, we use ala. So that's why it's telling you with brackets. Yahudiyun, Jew, plural is Yahudun. Mu'arrikhun, historian, mu'arrikhuna. This is sign plural, historian. Ta'rikhun, tawarikhu, history or date, depending on the context. Shaja'atun, bravery, courage. Majhulun, busy, occupied. Khatarun, akhtarun, danger. Siratun means life, biography, manner of living. Broken plural is siyarun. Khasaratun means loss. Najmun means star. Broken plural is najumun. Azimun means great. Broken plural is idhamun or uzama'u. Great means great or powerful. Sururun means joy or pleasure. Hadiyatun, gift or present. Broken plural is hadaya. Nafisun, precious or valuable. Majruhun means wounded or wounded man. Broken plural, broken plural is majarihu, or it can take a sign plural, majruhuna. Miftahun means key. Broken plural is mafatihu. Ummatun means nation. Broken plural is ummamun. Abara ya'buru, to cross or crossover. Verb. Muddatun, period of time. Muddadun, broken plural. Madatun, substance or matter. Muwadun is broken plural. Harbun, war. Broken plural. Harubun. Hadratun, in terms of respect, his honor. Hadratuka, I mean your honor. Faqada yafkudu, to lose. Miss Sama'un means sky or heaven. Broken plural samawatun. So Sudays, number one, ذكر اسم حسن لشجاعته ولأنه كان من المجاريح. You translate that for me? Break it down.
Zukira means mentioned.
Yes.
Ismu Hassan's name, and Lishja'ati is for his bravery.
So
Annahu.
Translate up today. What does it mean? ذكر اسم حسن لشجاعته. Translate bit by bit.
It is Hassan's name was mentioned for the bravery.
Yes.
Annahu, and indeed he is Kana Minal Majari. He is from the.
Yeah.
He is from the Majari. Sorry, I forgot.
Wounded. And yeah, and li'anna means because. We just li'anna because, and this is something you need to memorize.
And indeed he is from the wounded.
No, where's indeed? Li'anna means because.
Okay, because. And because he is from the wounded.
Yes. فهنا إن زيدا الدارب وعمر هو المضروب. What does that mean?
So indeed Zaid was hit.
Where do you get was from?
Oh, sorry. Indeed Zaid Darib is the passive form of daraba, right, sir? No,
Which form? Active form.
active form. Okay.
So what does it mean? Look, Zaydan is the subject, Zaydan, with accusative. Adaribu is the object. So what does adaribu mean? Hello?
Daribu means hitter.
Yes. So Wali Zaid is the striker or the hitter. Wa Umaru, and Umar Huwal Madrubu is the one struck, or does that make sense?
Okay, okay, sir. Sir,
Yes.
excuse, sir, I have some guests, so I will have to leave. Sorry,
Okay,
sir.
okay, that's fine. No worries. So that's number 3.
That Arafna and suitable Tarikh. That means we know from the books of this history.
It's past tense, so we knew.
We knew from the books of the history. Wamin Sirat al-Nabi, and from the Sirat al-Nabi is like prophets.
Biography of the Prophet.
Bibliography of the Prophet, and Jeshahu Wuliba fi hazal yawm. Verily, his army, Wuliba is to take over.
No, Ghalaba means to take over. Ghalaba yaghlibu, to conquer.
Okay. So
Victorious and stuff.
is like the conqueror.
Yeah, Ghuliba is passive, so conquered, yes.
Conquered until in this day, fi hazal yawmi.
Yes.
لكنه but غلب على أدائه بعد ذلك. But he took over
No,
his
it took,
enemy.
no, here, if you look at the context, it's referring to the army. Lakinnahu, but it, Ghalaba, was conquered or victorious ala a'da'i, upon his enemy.
On his enemy after this. بعد ذلك.
After that, Zalika is that.
After that. So we knew from the books of the history and from the bibliography of the Prophet that his army took conquered in this day,
but they overcame the enemy or conquered the enemy after that. So when he uses examples, these are just examples. It doesn't necessarily mean it's factual. Okay, so this is just using an example. So here, okay. Let's do some English to Arabic. So the doors of the house were opened and the presents were received with joy.
the doors of Babel.
Say it again.
Okay, the doors of the house were open. So, plural form. We use kana form. Kana Babel Baiti Maftuhan.
No. The doors of the house were opened. So here were open suggests it's going to be a verb, right? Which verb? Opening verb, right? Or to open.
Open is fatah.
No, and listen, and the fact that it doesn't mention the doer. He doesn't say who opened. He just said were opened. So you have to use the passive. So you use futiha.
Okay, futiha. Futiha al-bab al-bayti.
No, what's al-bab al-bayti? What's that? First of all, the doors, is there plural or how do you say door in Arabic?
The door is like the bab.
How do you say doors?
Abwab.
So you said futiha.
Futiha.
Is it futiha? Okay. Abwab.
Abwab.
You say al abwab, but it's not going to be al abwab. Futiha.
So because of is used, so we will not use the al with the bab, the abwab.
Okay. Yes.
So abwab al-bayti.
Abwa.
Al-bayti.
Why is it bal? It's not a file. What's because we did passive tense, we're saying what was open. The
Abwab
doors.
al-bayti. Futiha. Abwab al-bayti.
And why is it futiha? Why is it not futihat? This is broken plural, so it must be futihat.
Futiha. Okay.
Abwabul bayti.
Well, presents were received with joy. Present, what is the translation of presents? Hadiya?
So hadiyatun is singular, plural presence is hadaya. So again, what's the first thing you should search for? What's the obvious thing first here?
You should use the verb received.
Yes.
Wasalat.
Wasal means reach. You could use kabala yakbilu. Kabila
Kabal.
yakbalu.
Okay, kabala.
Kabila.
Kabila al-hadaya. Bisurur.
No, so look, it means, does he mention the subject?
No. So kubila.
Okay, kubilat.
Kubilat al-hidaya. Al-hadaya.
Kubilat, kubilat, kubi, and broken plural because of the hadaya is a broken plural. Al hidayah. So the present were received with saruri, yeah, with joy. So it's kabila yakbalu. The verb is kabila yakbalu, yes. So number 2, I did not know you were busy.
So I did not know. La fahamtu.
La alamtu.
La alamtu.
What's this?
That we were
What's
busy.
la alimtu? We said, well, first of all, is this past negation. You are talking about past tense. ये माजी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. I
Yes,
did
sir.
not know.
So,
So माजी के बाद में दो तरीके हैं. कौन से दो
La-
तरीके हैं?
La alamtu.
No, la alamtu नहीं है ना. We just done one way today. We just done one way today, and we done it last week, and we have been discussing it for a few weeks. That was your homework too. How do you say past negation? कैसे कहते हैं? मैंने नहीं किया, तुमने नहीं किया, तुमने नहीं लिखा, मैंने लिखा, तुमने नहीं मारा.
That is with lam.
Lam, yes. Okay, lam.
Lam. Alamtu. Lam will come with the present of the yeah. Lam alam alimu.
I did not know. अभी की है आज.
Lam alim.
Lam
Alim.
alim tu is lam past tense के साथ नहीं आता. Lam always comes with فعل مضارع.
Lam alim.
أعلم لم أعلم لم نعلم لم تعلم. You just done today.
Yeah. Lam alam.
That
An. تشغل.
तशगुलु का क्या मतलब है?
That you were busy. Shagal is like the work. So,
Okay, so if you want to say you were is present tense or past tense? And okay.
what is past tense?
So what we learned in this lesson, let's apply what we learned in this lesson. So basically, you're gonna say لم أعلم أنك مشغول اليوم. This is what we learned today. I didn't know that you are busy today or you were busy today. Because here's a were or are in brackets. You can say both. So that's why you say إنك مشغول اليوم. And do number
أعلم أن.
number 3, I know that the Arabs are the conquerors and the enemies
أعلم
are the
أن
conquerors.
العرب.
Yes. We say it again.
أعلم أن أعلم أن العرب.
I know. So alamu. Okay.